Okay, we're going to go ahead and start seated today. Legs crossed, one in front of the other. Not really important which one yet. What matters is if any of those sensations are showing up in the knees, pulling, tugging. Going to grab those blocks, place one under each knee. Never want to use one, we always want to use two. If you find you're tipping over forward or backwards, another option is to grab blanket, just kind of wedge it beneath as a doorstop of sorts. That helps to just tilt those hips enough and often provides relief. So we'll go ahead, we'll go hands to the lap, palms up. Maybe rest the eyes. There's a lot of anxiety or stress in your life right now. Might just have a light gaze on something in front of you. Not going to change anything quite yet. Just going to transition from that outdoor space to this space dedicated for the next hour just to focus on you. What's going on there right now? Notice how your feet, maybe your legs, sit bones are all connected with the mat. Notice the sounds in the room, maybe outside the room. Notice the temperature. Going to start to scan the body, starting at the toes, working all the way through the head. Taking a peek at any tension, pain in the body, soreness, stiffness, it's all pain. Go ahead and note those areas now. I want to make sure that during the hour, none of that is heightened. I want to work to make less pain in the body. Also note those things that might come up: competitiveness, perfectionism, emotions, wanting to solve the problem. What's wrong here? Going to try to let all of those thoughts come and go. They're going to come and go. And you're going to bring those thoughts each time back to the body, back to the breath. Go ahead and check in with that breath right now, what it's like. High stress or anxiety. We tend to hold our breath. Overdoers, hold the breath. We're going to watch that for the next hour. So what's that body, brain, and breath like right now? That's your starting point. We're going to go ahead and start to grow the breath. And as we grow the breath, We're going to start to extend the spine a little taller. Ladies want to give that tailbone a little tuck if you feel that arch creeping up in the back. Those bigger breaths, going to pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. We'll go ahead and take those arms out to the side. So fingertips reaching out of those shoulders, shoulders down and away from the ears. And just a couple big breaths right there. Noticing how difficult it is to simply sit upright so tall. Check in with those knees, anything creeping in, you can grab those blocks. Next, exhale, we're going to take the left ear in the direction of that left shoulder. You might pick those right fingertips up a bit, looking for that straight angle. Breathing big into that first point of resistance. Numbness or tingling in the arms or hands, you're going to bring them closer to the body. Next, exhale, we'll go chin in the direction of that left collarbone. Navigating slowly. Looking at it as a process, finding all those points between. One more big breath right here. And on the next inhale, going to slowly bring that head back upright, extending tall, intentionally pulling those shoulders down and away from the ears. Next exhale, we'll send the crown of the head away from the left fingertips, maybe picking those up. Looking for that angle, opposite arrows of movement. Check in with those knees, arms, hands. Next, exhale, chin in the direction of that right collarbone. Breathing into any tension you find here on this side. Inhaling back up to center. And hands back to the lap here. We're going to take the feet in front. Soles of the feet together. My feet are about a foot and a half from my body here. Yours might be a little bit different. Whatever's accessible, shins, ankles, feet. Gonna grab onto that for some leverage. On an inhale, we're gonna extend long, pull the shoulders down. Sit bones are rooted to the floor. And on an exhale, if you have space, you might hinge forward. You're only hinging forward as far as you can maintain that extension. Nice straight back, shoulders pulling back, sit bones rooted. If you have a good bit of range of motion here, you might use the elbows to apply a little pressure. Find that big breath. If you lost that big breath, going to go ahead and scale back. If the sides are uneven, one leg is higher than the other, you can also pivot your torso in that direction. and just apply pressure to the one side. Still keeping that spine extended. One more big breath right here. And then we're going to slowly come back up to center. Let's send the legs straight in front. Maybe give them a little shake after being crossed, folded. Pointing and flexing the toes. Get some wiggling going on there. You don't get a lot of circulation there. We're going to go both hands behind. Hands are kind of just outside the hips there. Fingers are wide, fingers and palms actively gripping the mat. We're going to use the strength of the arms to support ourselves upright. Shoulders are back. Give a little softness to those elbows. Toes are in the direction of the ceiling. Some of us are going to be right here. Really tricky one for me. If you have space, on an exhale, you might start to hinge forward. Watch for those teeth gritting. Watch for the breath to go. Watch for the legs to shake. Anything starts happening there, you can relax those feet a little. One more big breath right here. And then let's gently release. We're going to bring the right foot, it's going to go somewhere around this left knee. We're going to start there. If it's accessible today, you might cross it over this left knee. Going to take the right hand, send it behind that right hip, grip left hand to the outside of this left knee, extend tall. And on an exhale, gently twist. You're only twisting as far as you can maintain that extended position. Gonna breathe into that resistance. My times and postures are only suggestions. You might find that resistance in time. If your body says it's enough, you can scale back or out altogether. Last big breath on this side. And then you can gently release, relax, bringing that right arm back around. If that foot's crossed over, you can bring it back to the side and send it forward. Brand new side, brand new body. We're going to take the left foot. We're going to park it up against inside of this right knee. Everything's looking or feeling right here. You're going to cross that foot over. Check in again. Left hand this time is going to go behind, fingers and palms actively gripping. Right hand outside left knee. Extend tall. Pull the shoulders down. Exhale, twisting. Following it with that gaze. How does it feel on this side today? Might be very different side to side. We're not going to analyze it or try to figure out why. Just going to stop at that edge where it is now, the body's boundary. Last big breath on this side. And then we're going to gently release there. If that foot's crossed, going to bring it back over. And we're going to bring the right foot to meet the left here. Soles of the feet are both on the mat here. We're going to take the arms out. We're going to extend out of the shoulders. So consider your fingertips pulling directly out of the shoulders. And we're going to start to rock back until we find we can pick our feet off the floor. So finding that balance on those sit bones. If you need more depth here, if this doesn't feel challenging, you can start to straighten those legs. Keep projecting out of those shoulders. Keep breathing. Try to keep that spine long. You may have seen me adjust. Take those arms out wide. Notice that difference there. Body starts to shake or fight. Go ahead and bring them forward again. One more breath here. And let's bring those feet back down to the mat. We're going to transition here. We're going to transition to hands and knees. So any way you want to get to hands and knees. We're not going to dance our way there. Just moving slowly. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have blocks at the top of the mat. Don't need them just yet, but you might need them a little later. We're going to check our positioning here. Our shoulders are going to be stacked over our elbows, are stacked over our wrists. Fingers wide, actively gripping the mat. Hips are stacked over the knees. We're going to start to pull the crown of the head forward toward the wall in front of you and pull those sit bones in the opposite direction. Just breathe big right there with that nice extended spine. And on the next exhale, from here, we're going to start to send our shoulder blades in the direction of the ceiling, kind of hunching like a cat here, finding some space in that upper back, and then we're going to inhale back to that extension. Crown of head pulling one direction, sit bones pulling the other. You're going to flow here in the rhythm of your own breath. Exhaling, shoulder blades toward the ceiling. Inhaling, nice extension, shoulders pulling back. We'll all be at a different pace here because the size of our breath is different. Ignore me when you see me come out of postures. My focus here is to instruct. The next time you find yourself in that extension, I want you to just hold it there, pulling the shoulders back, breathing big. And on an inhale, we're going to send our right foot back. So right foot is going to go to the mat, right toes actually are on the mat. We still have that nice extension here. We're just going to pull the heel toward the wall behind us as we pull the crown of the head forward. Send those powerful breaths right back to that calf. You might not even feel it in that calf. We're looking for the loudest noise. Could be a cramp in the foot. If that's you, that's what you're paying attention to, noticing here. And using that as that first point of resistance. Last big breath on this side. Gonna stay on those hands and that one knee. Might have to situate a little. We're gonna start to pick that right foot up behind. Point the toes back. Pull the crown of the head away from the pointed toes. Trying to be as close to a tabletop here as possible. Big breaths. And go ahead and bring that one down. Let's shift back just for a second onto our heels, if that's sustainable. Just to give the wrists a bit of a break. Might take those wrists, give them a few circles, one direction. Clicking or popping, reduce the size of that circle. You don't want bone on bone. We're trying to create space between the joints. Maybe fingers opening, closing. And we'll go ahead and we'll take those hands forward again. If it's too much on the wrists, you can try going up to knuckles. Really want to be mindful of those wrists. Let's go ahead and send the left foot back this time. Opposite areas of movement again. Heel moving in one direction. Crown of the head pulling in the other. Gripping the mat with those fingers and palms. That strengthens the joints. Make sure those elbows aren't locked. Couple more breaths on this side. And then we're going to repeat. We're going to lift that left foot behind. We're going to point the toes. And we're going to send the crown of the head away from the toes. And when you're ready, bringing that knee back down. We're going to take our forearms to the mat here, and we're going to clasp the hands in front of us. We're going to tuck the toes, and we're going to start to walk them back. We're going to see if we can lift those hips from the floor. And we're going to pull the heels back, and we're going to pull the crown of the head forward. You want to project out of those shoulders. You want to scale back a little. You can bring those knees down. You can still apply that same pressure to the mat using the strength of the arms, pulling the crown of the head forward. Breathe big, just a couple more. And bringing those knees down. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring those hips back down. Still on forearms, we're going to uncross or unthread the hands. We're going to use the strength of our arms and hands on the mat. We're going to push down, pulling the crown of the head forward, toes back. This is an excellent posture for that lower back. It's one to keep in your pocket. It's also good for strengthening, as you can probably tell now. Last big breath here. And then let's relax. Let's bring the chest down to the mat. Let's rest a cheek. Arms can be overhead here. We're going to take a few big breaths right here. Go ahead and check in. Notice what parts of your body are touching the floor. Notice that left foot, how and where it's connecting. Notice the right foot, how it's connecting. And maybe any differences there, side to side. We're going to inhale and lift the head. And we're going to exhale, we're going to place the other cheek on the mat. That side might feel very different. I know it does for me. One more big breath here. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to lift our head back up. We're going to keep it up and we're going to send the arms down by our sides. And we're going to see if we can lift the feet. Toes are pointing back. Shoulders are pulling away from the ears. Might be finding a place on the body where you're balancing now. One more breath here. And then let's release, just bringing that cheek. How about the cheek with less range of motion on that side, bringing it back down to the mat just for a few breaths. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start to lift that head back up. We're going to bring our hands to the mat. We're going to use the strength of our arms, just push ourselves back up here. We're going to take the knees wide. Big toes are moving toward one another. We're going to send the sit bones in the direction of those heels. And we're going to walk the hands forward. Gonna check in right there.
Should we rest our forehead on the ground?
You can rest your forehead on the ground
On the mat,
or on a block, yes. Notice where the body is now, the head space is now. Might be settling in a little. Right there, we're going to get an extension, staying just as you are. Going to go up to fingertips. Notice the Different angle of that stretch there. Adds a bit of extension maybe. One more breath. And then when you're ready, walking yourself back up to all fours. Stacking shoulders over soft elbows, over wrists. Finding one more good extension here. Crown of head pulling, sit bones pulling. Gonna walk you through a down dog. Any wrist stuff going on, you might get to your feet any way that's gonna work for you today. We're gonna tuck the toes. We're gonna send the hips in the direction of the ceiling. Chest is moving toward the front of the thighs. Back of the thighs are moving toward the wall behind. Gaze is between your feet. You might pedal out right there. Maybe lifting one leg and then lifting the other. Optional. One more big breath. Then gonna start to walk the feet toward the hands. Maybe the hands toward the feet. And we're gonna roll up one vertebrae at a time. Once you find yourself standing, we're going to go feet about hip width. We're going to pick up the toes. We're going to get a grip on the mat. That strengthens the joints, specifically those knees, which are problematic for many people. Let's go arms down by the sides. Fingers and shoulders pulling down, crown of the head pulling up. We're going to give that tailbone a little tuck. And we're just going to take 2 big breaths right there. Right here, we're going to start to take the hands, and we're going to go to the lower part of the neck. Fingers are just going to kind of touch there. Knees are soft, tailbone's tucked, toes are still gripping. On an exhale, going to send the chest in the direction of the ceiling. Shoulders and elbows pulling back. Breathing big into that awkward open chest. Getting rid of all that old air, bringing in some new. Let's take the hands a little higher. Clasp the palms. Let's send the elbows forward. And on an exhale, let's drop the chin in the direction of that chest. Don't want to push on the head here. Just let gravity and the natural weight of your arms do the work. Send those big breaths directly into that resistance. Let's inhale that head back upright. Let's keep the palms clasped. And we're going to start to take them in front of us, flip them, and we're going to send our palms in the direction of the ceiling. Tailbones tucked. Try to relax those shoulders down. Grip with the toes. Don't worry how straight your arms are or how bent they are. There's no right place in the posture except for that first point of resistance. Next exhale, we're going to lean toward the left. Want you to try to keep that right side nice and long. Keep that left side as long as it'll stay long. We want to extend here. See if those knees have locked out. Go ahead and scale back a little. We're going to inhale back to center. One inhale, exhale to reset. Next exhale, we're going to lean toward the right. So pulling those hands out of that left hip. Soften the knees, grip with the toes. One more big breath here. And then inhaling up to center. We're going to go ahead and release those hands. We're going to send them behind, and we're going to try to reach for those wrists. Right here, primary movement, shoulders back, tailbone tucked, toes gripping. If you have space, you might find that you're able to walk those hands, inching them toward the elbows. But if you find those shoulders rounding forward for more depth, you're going to scale back. Further isn't better, deeper isn't better. Body doesn't benefit from pushing beyond those limits. The next exhale, we're going to start to hinge forward at the waist. And we're only going to hinge forward as long as we can maintain that tabletop-like posture. Send some of those big breaths directly between those vertebrae. Breathing big. Take a peek at those toes. Are they gripping? Next inhale, we're going to support that strong spine back up, trying to keep it straight the entire way. Let's release those arms down to the sides. Let's do a few rolls forward. Clicking, popping, grinding. Reduce the size. Let's reverse the direction of those circles. And relax at center. Fingers down, pulling down and away from the ears. We're going to do a balancing posture. You can either stay on the mat or some prefer the hard floor. We have space for a hard floor. So if you're more comfortable there. We're going to start just by noticing that center of gravity, side to side, front to back. What it's like to be on 2 feet with the weight evenly distributed. Spine is long, tailbone's tucked. We're still really tall here, knees are soft. But check in with that weight on those feet. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to shift a little bit onto that left foot. And we're going to bring the right foot and we're going to park the heel somewhere against this left ankle. That left hip is probably going to want to collapse here because it knows it's going to be able to get more depth. Let's project out of that hip, keeping it straight, not worrying about depth. We're going to bring the hands, palms together, center of the chest. And when you have some stability there, pull those shoulders down. When you have some stability there, you might start to pick up that foot, that right foot, and experiment on the inside of that calf. If you're not wobbly, you're going to want to bring that foot a bit higher. You want to look for that place where you're shaky, but not tipping over completely. Hips extended, left knee is soft, toes are gripping. Might start to send those hands up. Relax the shoulders, bring that breath back. When we're trying to focus on balance, we often lose the breath. Foot may come down 100 times, still balancing. Let's take the arms wide. Slow movements. Let's bring that foot down, hands back to center of the chest, down by the sides. Give the hips a little shake. Shake it off. Brand new side. So we're going to let the judgment of the first side go right away. And we're going to start to shift the weight this time onto that right foot. Primary movement here, project out of that hip. Notice how those toes are gripping on this side. Parking that left foot somewhere against that right ankle. Projecting tall, breathing big, finding something to focus on, and then experimenting with the left side. Finding that place just outside of the comfort zone, just outside what comes easy. Palms to the heart center or center of the chest. What's going on with the hip? What's going on with the knee? The breath. Maybe slowly sending those hands above. Maybe taking them out. Finding your place today. One more big breath here. And then bringing that left foot down. Arms down to the sides, giving those hips a good shake. If you need more depth on balancing postures, if you're strong with those, probably means your body doesn't need them as much, but you can always close your eyes as well. That becomes a lot more challenging. Let's pick those toes up. They're still about hip width. Give them a grip. Let's go hands to the front of the thighs. We're going to inhale, and on an exhale, we're going to extend forward again. You might apply a little pressure to the front of those legs to get a little leverage to pull the crown of the head forward and pull the sit bones back. Breathing into that space. We're going to go from here just into a dead hang. Gonna try to make the torso heavy here. You might grab elbows. You might give a sway back and forth, side to side or onto the toes and then the heels, noticing the differences. We're going to take our hands back to the shins or wherever they're meeting there. And we're going to come back into that nice extension. Pull the crown of the head forward. Pull the sit bones back. One more big breath here. And then bringing that torso, that nice straight torso, back to center, tucking the tailbone. Gonna reach down and grab that strap. Looks like you all have one. We won't do too many more on our feet. We go down to floor again. Do a couple hip openers. But with that strap, just have it even on both sides. That's probably perfectionism. Get rid of that. For me, the goal is to have them pretty far apart. I don't have a lot of range of motion in my shoulders. Edge. I'm at edge. We're going to take the hands, knuckles are toward the ceiling. Tuck the tailbone, my back just arched. Keep that little bit of bend in those knees. And on an exhale, we're going to start to send the hands up and back. You have lots of freedom here. If you have a lot of range of motion, you can take that posture back. You're not trying to mirror me. You're trying to find your resistance. Your resistance is not in my tight shoulders. Just breathe big there. One more. Let's release that. We're going to take the strap behind. Knuckles are toward the floor now. Move in the direction of the ceiling. Check in with all those verbal stance instructions in your head. Exhaling, lifting that strap behind. If you're at home, you can use a belt or a scarf. You don't have to have the equipment that we have right here. Books can be substituted for blocks. Towels can be substituted for blankets. Last big breath. And then gently bringing that strap back down toward those hips. Tossing it aside. And I'm going to walk you through one more down dog as we transition back to the floor. Check in with the wrists. If it's a little much. Down dogs are pretty terrible overall for wrists, especially women. It's a lot of weight. So you'll never see more than one or two during any class. But they're excellent postures for the lower back, so something to kind of consider, but not at the expense of the wrists. Let's go hands to the front of the thighs. Get one more of those great extensions in. Inhale, tall. Exhale, hinging forward. Pausing. Crown of head pulling, sit bones pulling. And then bending the knees, taking the hands to the floor, walking the feet back, hips in the direction of the ceiling, chest toward the front of the thighs, back of the thighs toward the wall behind, heels in the direction of the floor, gaze is between your feet. Maybe pedal out again here. Noticing how this down dog might feel different from the first one now that you're warmed up. And when you're ready, you're going to start to shift that weight forward onto those arms, allowing them to support you as you bring one knee down to the mat at a time. We're going to bring the knees together this time. We're going to sit back toward the heels, and we're going to take the hands behind alongside the body with the palms up. And your head may rest on the floor or a block, but just try to relax those heavy arms, giving them all a break here. And just some relaxing breaths right now. Not worrying about what's next. Not worrying about that balancing posture that seems so hard. But just right here, giving the system a break. Focusing on what you could do. Last big breath here. Then we're going to bring those hands forward. Coming up to all fours, but we're not going to stay on all fours for long. We're going to just have those blocks handy here, just in case we need them. But we're going to take our right foot and we're going to send it between our hands. Might have to shimmy it up there. Doesn't need to be pretty. You want to look to ensure the knee is stacked over the ankle. That's going to support, that's creating those stable joints, stacking them. On an exhale, you're going to start to send the hips down and forward. If you have more depth here, you're going to have to inch those toes forward. If your hands, even fingertips, aren't reaching the floor, that's when you want to grab the blocks. If you use the blocks on this one, use them on the lowest setting you can get away with. Knee is stacked over that right ankle. Relax the jaw. Relax the hips. Relax the head space. Relax that back leg. It's only along for the ride. Look for those sensations in the body wherever you feel it. We hold these stretching postures a little bit longer. And it's okay if you feel it more in the muscles. Blood's going directly there. You feel it a lot faster in the muscles. Joints are where you have to look for those tiny whispers.
How do you know the difference?
Joint and muscle. Just consider anything around the knee as the joint.
Okay.
Anything there. A bigger muscle like a hamstring or a quad or a glute.
You'll feel a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's easier to find edge there. We're going to start to roll onto the outside of that left knee. Not a requirement, but just kind of pivoting that knee. Maybe glancing in that direction. We're going to pivot that knee back to center so that we're on the top of the knee. We're going to see if we can roll onto the inside of that left knee. Check that that knee is still stacked over that ankle. Need a little more, you can extend that left hand up, fingertips reaching toward the sky, following it with your gaze. Wherever you are, whether that hand's up or down, we're going to bring it back down. We're going to carefully roll onto the top of that left knee. We're going to grab those blocks and we're going to walk them back. And we're going to send those toes in the direction of the ceiling. Find an appropriate height on the blocks, maybe starting taller. Watch for that leg to shake. That right leg shakes. Try a higher setting or relax the foot. Last big breath here. And let's go ahead and take that foot back, letting that knee meet the other. Placing those blocks near the top of the mat again. And then we're going to shimmy this left foot forward. We know primary here is knee stays over ankle. On an exhale, we're going to send those hips down and forward. If our hands are touching the mat, even only fingertips, that's where we're going to stay. If the hands aren't reaching the mat today, we're just going to grab those blocks. Trying a couple settings, which is best. Relax that back leg. Relax that jaw. Relax analytical mind. Just take that focus to the body where you feel it. Check in with that pain that you started the class with. If it's been amplified, might have pushed a bit through some things. We're going to start to roll onto the outside of that right knee. Take a peek at that left knee over ankle. Might follow with a gaze onto that left side. One big breath. Then we're going to pivot that knee to the top and then the inside of that right knee. Might extend those right fingertips toward the sky. Let the breath dictate. Relax that jaw. We're going to bring that right hand back if it's up. We're going to slowly pivot onto the top of that right knee. And we're going to take a couple more big breaths right here at center. And then we're going to grab those blocks. We're going to walk them back up slowly. We're going to send those left toes toward the ceiling. Notice everything we're doing one direction, we're doing the opposite as well to counter. Find that setting that's going to work for you on this side. Legs shaking. Relax those toes a bit. Or even come out all together. Send some big breaths into the back of that leg. One more big breath right here. And then if those toes aren't relaxed, you can go ahead and relax them. Sending that left foot back. Taking those blocks off to the side. And now we're going to transition onto our backs. So maybe coming down onto the hip. Carefully bringing those feet around. Might want to make sure you can reach those blankets in case you want them. And I'm going to bring some bolsters around. We're going to go down onto our backs here. Maybe grab shins or close to the knees, or if you need a little strength, you can extend those fingertips out long, pulling out of the shoulders. And then you can back just as slowly as you're able. Ignore me as I grab the bolsters. Continue your practice. Go all the way down. Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite pose.
Have the bolsters. I know you like one. It helps settle that lower back. Again, bolsters aren't required. You can always use towels or blankets.
Sure, I'll try. It's pretty lovely.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Just saying.
Oh.
Again, you don't have to have this bolster, but you can find a pillow or anything to place under those knees. Allows the lower back to settle to the floor. We're on our final posture here. And become as heavy as you can. Relax your feet. Relax your calves. Relax your thighs. Relax your hips. Relax your belly. Relax your ribs. Relax your chest. Relax your hands. Relax your arms. Relax your shoulders. Relax your head. Relax your jaw. Relax your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your lips. Relax all of the tiny muscles in your face. No need to control your breath anymore. Let the breath do what it wants to do naturally now. We're going to bookmark with that same check-in. Noticing the parts of your body touching the ground now. Noticing the temperature and the sounds now. And then checking in, body, new brain, new breath. You're eventually going to bring some soft and slow movement back at your pace. Maybe starting fingers and toes. Your wrists and ankles. Maybe a rock of the head side to side or the knees side to side. You just checked in with your body. Maybe there's something your body needed that I didn't get to today. Created time for your practice. And posture might be right here, just taking those moments of stillness. Or acknowledging what it is that your body needed. And eventually coming upright to a seated position. ready to transition throughout the day in a better way.